calm down, folks. Just calm down. And welcome into night 4 of the Best Boys Center Ice Podcast 2026 Stanley Cup Playoff Wrap-Up Show. It's already into night 4. Some great games tonight, Carson. Games that the game that I was looking forward to wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be, and the games that I really wasn't that interested in started turning out to be the games that were really exciting. But we're already into these games here, game twos, for all of the teams that we're going to be talking about tonight. Just Carson, we just want to remind folks that you can catch us here on Facebook Live right now, and we will be every night of the Stanley Cup playoffs through this until somebody raises the cup in June. We're going to be live every night, usually about a half hour after the last game, within a half hour of what the last game played, and it was just now as the Colorado Avalanche and LA Kings ended their overtime game. A couple of overtime games tonight. Also, I'm sorry, you can get us on our YouTube channel as well, Best Boys Center Ice Podcast on YouTube. Go there, subscribe. You can also see the past shows from this past few days. All right, Carp, we had 4 games today. The first game that I want to talk about was it. I'm honestly going to say was the game I was most interested in watching, and that was the Buffalo-Boston game.
Yeah.
And for what it had turned out, my computer's not working here very well. What it had turned out the other night when Buffalo came back and won in that incredible game against the Bruins, even being down in that game and coming back to win. And tonight, kind of the same thing in Buffalo. They got off to a slow start. Boston got the first 3 goals, actually. Former Oiler Victor Arvidsson got his first of the playoffs in the second period, and then Geeky got his second. And also, if I'm not mistaken, I think Arvidsson got a second goal.
Yeah, he did.
Arvidsson did get 2 goals that night. But we'll talk
that
about
geeky goal, oh man,
in a little bit. But all of a sudden, Boston's up actually 4-0.
4-0.
In the
Yeah.
third period after Arvidsson's second goal, and then you're thinking, I turned the TV over. I turned the TV over to the Montreal Tampa game because it was just like, well, okay, it's 4-0. It's almost end of the third period. I didn't think too much about it, and then Buffalo did come back with a couple of goals late, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
As Boston did win 4-2, but something you don't see normally in an NHL game is a goal scored from basically center ice. And it was Geeky's goal in this second period. He basically lifted it backhanded from center ice, and just the way that it bounced and the way that it went, the puck went, it went.
Yeah, it took a complete
It was
turn.
just the craziest looking goal. I usually don't, like I said, don't see that in playoff hockey, but it did happen, and it just kind of deflated Buffalo a little bit in that second period.
Yeah, I mean, you're down 1 at that point. That's an unlikely thing to happen. That play happens 100 times, 99 times it doesn't go.
No.
I found the positioning of UPL on that one, their goalie, UPL, to be super weird. With how far he was out when that puck came in, it just looked like he was like 5-6 feet out of the crease, and it just missed him. But I mean, I think you're Buffalo. I think if you're both teams, you're happy and you're upset.
Mm-hmm.
You're Buffalo, you're happy you just got the monkey off the back and won one of the games. Boston, you're happy you won one of the games, but you could have had a 2-0 lead. They blew the lead in game 1, but no harm, no foul for either side. And it's going to be a long series regardless. But yeah, so that was kind of disappointing, I guess, with how it kind of went. But it is what it is. Boston definitely clawed back and did what they had to do. Then for the other game in the East, Montreal Tampa, uh, another overtime game,
Yep.
another one. There's both games have gone to overtime. Very. This has been such a back and forth battle between those teams physically, scoring wise. Like it's very evenly matched. I like this series
Mhm.
really how it's played out. It's been very competitive. It was a 3-2 final tonight. Um, the Habs had a 2-1 lead in this game going into the third period, and it was looking bad for Tampa. I mean, if you lose both games at home, um, it's hard to do. It's hard to come back from that. But they came back in the third, and Kucherov got a wraparound goal to tie it, and then Mosier gets his first career playoff goal in overtime uh, to win the game for Tampa, and it must again a good situation for them to tie it up. I don't think really, honestly, in this league, home ice matters, but it doesn't necessarily matter too much. You just got to
No,
win.
you just got
And
to
so
win.
I think that Tampa's happy they got that game, but I don't think the home ice really makes that big of a difference because you just got to be ready. Some teams are better on the road than they are at home, as crazy as that sounds. And so I'm interested to see what happens in that. But that was another very, very good game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think I'm totally agreeing with you. I think these two teams are very well matched.
Mhm.
Going back to Montreal now, series tied at 1. Now things could get different once you get to the Bell Center,
That'll be
and that
fun.
game is a couple of nights from now.
Yeah, Thursday.
The Bell Center is going to be hopping. But I think evenly matched teams, home ice. There's no home ice now. It's like 1-1. Um, well, there is home ice for Tampa Bay. Got it back again. But it's just gonna. I think this is going to be a series. This is the one that could go down to 7
Yeah, absolutely.
between Montreal and Tampa Bay. Then we move on to the game between the Utah Mammoth and the Vegas Golden Knights. And again, I'm interested in this game from the aspect of futuristic. If the Oilers were to take care of the Ducks, this is the next teams that
Yeah,
they would play, either Utah or the Golden Knights. It was in Vegas. Vegas won the first game the other night. What was the score? It was 4-2.
4-2.
But Utah came out tonight, and I think even though they got off to, Mr. LTIR, Mark Stone, it's another goal, a power play goal to start things out for um, the Knights in the first period, followed by a
Uyghur tied it for
yeah, Wiener tied it with a little with about 10:50 gone in the first. So we're tied going into the second period. Utah took a lead 2-1. Barbashev, he's been red hot. He's been really playing very well
yeah,
since Torch uh, took over um, behind the bench for
yeah, for
Vegas. He's
Vegas.
gotten his second of the playoffs, and that was in the second period. Third period, only one goal, and that was by Utah, and that was with about 6 minutes left in the game. Logan Cooley gets his second, and Utah takes what they did. They did what they had to do. They took one of two
Hmm.
in Vegas, going back home for that first historic game in Salt Lake City coming up later this week. I think you know what I did pick Utah to beat Golden the Gold. I want to call them Golden State all the time. The Golden Knights. I did beat pick Utah to win this series, and I think that they played a pretty good first game. They played a better second game, and now they're going back to Utah. Golden Knights have to win. I think if of the two teams, the Golden Knights have to win Game 3. Utah could get away with losing Game 3, but if Vegas loses Game 3 to
Yeah,
Utah, that could be a big problem for them.
yeah. I mean, I mean, both games again were pretty evenly matched. Again, it's another one of those series where it's played out pretty good, but I do think Utah's had the upper hand. They've played well both times, and they I think they would have been okay if they didn't win any games in Vegas, honestly. And they got one. And I mean, they have the momentum going back home where it's going to be a crazy crowd and they're going to be ready. And yeah, Vegas, I agree, does need to win game three. But that's also a team in Vegas that knows what it takes to win. And so at
Mhm.
any situation, they're not really out.
Yeah,
I think that you look at this game and it could have gone either way. Utah was the one that got it tonight. We'll go back to the drawing board and see who comes out for game three ready. But very historic win. Utah Mammoth first win in their franchise history in the playoffs. Very exciting for them in that city to get that. And I'm excited to see what the atmosphere is like on Thursday. And then finally, the last game, which just finished up about 10 minutes ago, Colorado LA, a series going into it that I wasn't super excited about it. I really thought it was going to play out a lot differently than it has, despite the fact that Colorado is up 2-0. Low goals, low amount of
Mhm.
goals. I mean, there's only been uh, six in the series
Yeah.
so far, and each game has been 2-1. um, Colorado
And you
won
talk
game.
about Colorado's only scored 4 goals,
Yeah,
and they were the top scoring
top scoring
team in
team.
the NHL.
Yep. Despite the fact that Colorado did win tonight, Nick Waugh got his overtime goal, first of his career, I believe. Um, I am very impressed with what the Kings are doing. They're actually playing pretty good. I think they're containing the Avs as well as they can. And Forsberg, who's making his first career starts in net for the Kings postseason wise, they've done a good job containing it. They really
Mhm.
have. I mean, I give them a lot of credit. They've done a good job, and both games could have gone either way with how they were playing, especially tonight going to overtime. I think you're going home obviously upset that you didn't tie the series because you had a chance to, but I don't think you're pretty pleased with what you've done. And I
Yeah.
think you go back to state or to crypto.com arena and you just look for game three to get it back in the series. But I'm very impressed with what they've done, but as well for Colorado for sticking with it, not getting frustrated because of the fact they're not able to score as much as they're used to, and they're just taking what they can get and being opportunistic, and that's what good teams do. So all the credit to both teams. This series has actually been pretty good. I've enjoyed watching it, the bits and pieces that I have, and I'm hoping that the Kings can get Game Three, bring some life back into the series for their sake of it. But it's been enjoyable for me to watch it, I think.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the Kings. And I don't know if it goes back. I honestly don't know if it goes back to the fact that, the last 4 or 5 seasons, 4 seasons at least, they played the Oilers in the first round, and maybe getting out of having to play the Oilers. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well,
That
that's a
said
different
something.
matchup too because Colorado's a team you're not going to play super often. You
Yeah.
know, being out of division, like you won't like that's a very to me even just seeing it like before it started, that's a very unique matchup. That's not one that's probably would have been predicted.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've learned a lot from losing like that, and I think that they really have. I think they've done better than I think some teams that are in the West could have done at containing the Avalanche right away. I give them a lot of credit, but obviously the series is far from over. Uh, I mean, one goal win each game. That's the closest you can get in the margin. So
I
kudos
forgot
to
there
both
was a there
teams.
was a there was a penalty shot in that game too.
Yep.
The
Yeah,
Colorado
Byfield.
LA game. I'm just
Yep.
watching the highlights now of the
Yeah.
the glass breaking
Yeah.
behind the
Yeah.
Kings. Not along the ice. It was
Yeah.
behind
Behind
the
the
Kings
bench.
bench.
Yeah.
That was
The fans were going a bit crazy,
that
but
was
yeah,
great. But no, I agree. I think LA's playing good. I think if they can get Game Three, they're
bring some life
right
back
back
in.
in it.
I give them
Um,
credit though. They've done a great job, and I mean tonight was another great night of playoff hockey. Obviously, it's very late. It's 1:15 in the morning
yeah,
where we're at. So, uh, of course, this game had to go to OT, but it ended pretty
yeah,
quickly, about 8 minutes in, so not too bad. But yeah,
yeah,
this is night three or night four is done with, and we move
yeah.
on to night five of the playoffs, which is tomorrow. And so we've got only three games. This is the first, I think, no, this is the second day where we've only had three games, just because the schedule is going to have uh, at some point every matchup besides Edmonton, Anaheim's going to have a extra day break.
Okay.
And so tomorrow's Carolina, Ottawa, they're the team that's not playing tomorrow because of that extra break. So you got three games tomorrow. Uh, Pittsburgh, Philly at 6 o'clock Central, Game Three in Philadelphia. Dallas, Minnesota, 8:30 Central, Game Three in Minnesota, and then finally Anaheim, Edmonton. That's Game Two at 9 o'clock Central. uh, in Edmonton. Looking at these games, obviously we each have our own biases. What's the one that you think you're watching out for tomorrow out of
Well,
these?
okay, besides the Oilers and Ducks, of course, I wanted to see how Pittsburgh comes out after being flat at home. I'm really anxious to see how they can turn things around on the road. I don't have their road record compared to their home record in front of me, but I think they had a pretty
Let me
good road
get that
record.
for you real quick. I can get that.
Um, I just, I just, I want, I like, okay, when you look at the big scheme of cheering for hockey teams, of course, my team is the Oilers, but my other favorite team are the Pittsburgh Penguins, not just because
That
of Carson, but I just think
yeah.
I've like
They
love Sidney Crosby, and I just think that they haven't played like the Pittsburgh Penguins of the
mm-mm,
season have played.
no. I will
Um,
say the Penguins' road record this season was 21-12 and or tw- yeah, 21-12-8.
okay,
So
so
they've
they
had a pretty
have a
good road
good
record.
road record,
Yeah.
and I think playing in Philly, it's going to be loud, it's going to be crazy, it's Philadelphia, but I think the pressure is a little bit off of them because they're going to be
On
they
the
know
road.
they're going to be booed every time Sid touches the puck or Gino touches the puck. They're going to get booed. It's just the atmosphere in Philadelphia is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm just anxious to see how Pittsburgh can adjust to how they played at home to how they're going to play on the road. Because if they can steal the two games in Philly, of course, that would be the greatest thing to happen for the franchise, at least this year. But let's just see. That's what I'm anxious to see. Can the power play get going? Can they just get out of the mud? They just seem to be
Yeah.
playing in mud when they were playing at home the first two games. So that besides the Oilers Ducks game, that's the game I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. Obviously, for me, I have a very big interest in the game, and I'm very nervous for it because of the fact that they could go down 3-0 if they lose. But weirdly enough, I've thought about it a lot since I got over being upset about it on Monday when that happened. Uh, I I thought about it and I'm like, okay, they if they play the way that they did in the third period, the entire game tomorrow, 5-on-5, I think they'll win
Hmm.
because they played a really strong third period 5-on-5. They controlled the play, they controlled the chances. Uh, at that point, you could tell they were just mentally out of it because they had really not played too terribly, but gave up.
Mhm.
It's just the little mistakes that they're making. That's what's costing them at this point. Is their little mistakes. Uh, and I think if they play the entire game for the most part like they did the third period, they'll win. I think both games. You look at the numbers. I know the Flyers won both games. They deserve to win them both, but the Penguins controlled the zone time in both
Mhm.
games. It's just a matter of getting the puck on the net, getting
Yeah.
bodies in front of Vladar, getting any shot on the net that you can. I think they did a decent job in the third, getting shots on, shooting the puck more.
Mhm.
That's when they had a lot of better opportunities. Uh, and I mean, I'm always going to believe that they can do it. And if there's a team that can, it's them. And I think if any place that they play in, I'm confident when they play in Philadelphia. It seems to just unlock a different kind of animal out of the guys that
Mhm.
need to be done. And for this playoff, they have been for the most part not very great. Sid, Gino, Letang, they've been bad. I mean, really collectively. If any time is a time for them to turn it around, it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a big game from Carlson tomorrow. I think those guys have a fire lit under their butt with how bad they played the first couple games. They know they got to do better.
Yeah.
And, the theme of the playoffs for the Penguins is flip the script. You might as well flip it now because the odds are very against them. I'm looking for them to get the first goal. I think I said that last night too. They got to get the first goal and early. Get it in the first maybe 5-10 minutes. Open it up a little bit. I think the difference in the series has been Philly's been waiting for Pittsburgh to make a mistake. Make it the opposite now, where you get
Mhm.
ahead and you have to force them to do something to make a mistake
Yeah.
and make them come out of their comfort zone a little bit because right now they've been doing that to Pitt. Uh, I think also that as equally the Flyers haven't had a playoff game at home in 8 years. They're going to be under some little bit of pressure as well, based upon the
Mhm.
fact of that. Um, so I'm excited to see what that one is. I have faith in the Penguins. If they can get Game 3, that shifts the tide of the series a little bit, I think, because then that makes Game 4 more of, I don't want to call it a must win, but for Philly, game that they want to get if they
Mhm.
lose Game 3, because you go back to Pittsburgh for Game 5 and it's tied.
Yeah.
I think the Penguins have gained confidence from those two games, being on the road if they win them, and that can, they just need to be better on the power play. That's the
Yeah.
big difference, is be better on the power play, even if you're not scoring,
Just
not giving up
more.
chances like they've been giving up.
Yeah.
So be ready, be having your head on the swivel at all points. But I'm very excited.
Mhm.
Obviously, just one at a time, one game at a time, one shift at a time, one period at a time.
Yeah.
You can't control what happens in the second period and the first period. You can only control what you're doing right now. Yeah, I think I'm excited for that one. I'm also excited for Minnesota Dallas. I'm on a coin flip on really how this game's going to go, because uh, Dallas responded in Game 2. They came out and they took care of business, and they were under attack a little bit at the end of that game because they gave up a too many men penalty, but they took what was theirs, and
Mhm.
they kind of killed home ice a little bit. And this is a series where I don't think home ice really matters, and much like for the first one, Pitt and Philly, I don't think home ice matters for that either. Um, I think tomorrow, though, I do have Minnesota coming back and winning tomorrow. I
Mhm.
think, you know, they look at that game and they have probably some opportunities to come back in it and tie it up. Obviously, the end of that game was not desirable. That Wyatt Johnston empty netter. I mean, nobody could have predicted that puck taking that wicked left turn that it
Yeah.
did, and who knows what would have happened if it would have hooked right. It could have been a tie game, if Minnesota would have had the icing there. But yeah, I've got many winning that one. I just think that their crowd's going to be going crazy for them. This is their best chance they've had to make it,
Mhm.
and they've got to come out in front of the crowd. And yeah, I'm looking at Minnesota winning that game, but you never know. I mean, both teams in their own right deserve to win the game.
Yeah. I'm with you on the Minnesota game as well. I think Minnesota is going to come out in St. Paul and they're going to play. I think they're going to take this game. It's going
Yeah.
to be a close game. And then the nightcap.
I
Don't.
weirdly think that it's going to be a split again, that they're both going to win one game there.
Yeah.
I think. Yep.
It's going to be like that all the way through. It's going to be 6-7 games. And then the Oilers and the Ducks game 2. Again, it goes to the fact of like Edmonton. The first game, their bench. I don't know, the bench guys. Um,
The role players.
the role players scored both all 4 goals. Draisaitl was a part of 2 of them. McDavid didn't get a point. Um, Connor Ingram looked really good.
Hmm.
The defense is a little shaky. Bouchard was a little shaky on defense a little
Yeah.
bit. I think the Oilers just kind of shore that up. Um, and if McDavid goes on a roll, and if McDavid gets some points going,
Yeah.
I that could be a
Yeah.
a blowout game. I'm not expecting it to be a blowout
No.
game because Anaheim's a good hockey club. But I do think the Oilers will take this one. I do think Anaheim's going to be a tough one to win in Anaheim in California. But I'm going with Pittsburgh to win, Minnesota, and the Oilers for tomorrow
Yeah.
night.
I think the Oilers win tomorrow too. They played a pretty good game, and again, McDavid wasn't really involved in the offense as far as that's concerned. The only level of kind of concern I look with Edmonton is the penalty kill. I
Hmm.
think they've got to be careful with being disciplined. You
Yeah.
don't want to give Anaheim a chance because they've proven that they can score on the power play. But I agree. I mean, I think Edmonton's going to take this game. Uh, you know, I think you wouldn't want to give up the game to Anaheim if you can avoid it, because
Hmm.
that's going to be another arena that's going to be very passionate when they go back to Anaheim. They
Yep.
haven't had a playoff game in a while. Yeah, I think McDavid comes back and gets on the score sheet tomorrow. I think you maybe see Draisaitl pot a goal in, but again, you want to see the games being won the way they are by the role players scoring. That's
Mhm.
the best thing you can see is that
Yeah.
those role players are scoring. But I agree. I've got Pitt, Minnesota, Edmonton for tomorrow, and those are going to be three very, in their own right, very important games. Very exciting games for each of them. I expect all the teams that we said that are going to win to come out with a fire at the beginning of those games,
Mhm.
respectively. I really do.
Yeah. And we will be on within a half hour after the Edmonton.
Hopefully no overtime. I'm
Hopefully,
sorry, but
no
hopefully no
overtime.
overtime. If there's any overtime game, I'll have it being the Dallas Minnesota game, so we're not doing this
Yeah.
at 2 in the morning.
Yeah. So whatever the last game is, we're on within a half hour of that last
That
game
should
playing.
be
Usually
Philly
within
Pitt
usually
6 overtimes.
it's usually within a few minutes, but we can
Yeah,
safely say
this time was a record. I think we got like 5 minutes. Not
I think it
even.
was, yeah, it was like I think they were just finishing up the post
Yeah,
game
yeah.
interviews
Interview.
and stuff when we
Yeah,
were already on. So, but we're on every night of the playoffs. Right, like I said, within a half hour after the last game is played, you can catch us live on Facebook, live on our YouTube channel, Best
yeah,
Boys Center Ice Podcast on YouTube. The replay of both will be up on both here in just a little bit.
yeah,
You can go back and you can watch the first three episodes of the 2026 playoff wrap.
yep,
Carson, I do like the new background we got there. Is that from the Seattle game that you went to? Is
yep.
that
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I changed it up
the
a
ice
little bit.
from the Kraken? I love that. It looks really good.
Yeah,
Thanks for all the graphics and
you're welcome.
everything that you do for
Yep,
gathering all the information. Like I said, he's the best analyst I've ever had, ever heard of in hockey. So we go into night five tomorrow or later tonight, later
yeah,
tonight, with three games for the chase for the greatest trophy in the world, the Stanley Cup. And we'll be there with you all the way until somebody hoists that cup in
yep.
June. And in the meantime, and in between time, everybody have a great